Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, the 28th of October. Cannot believe Halloween is Monday. The time is just flying by. So I'm very happy to introduce Rosa this morning from CARC, Community Affairs and Resource Center. And Tara Demianovich works with her, and Tara does lead screening. Tara is an RN, and she does lead screening in the community. And so every time Tara announced that she was going to do a lead screening in the community, we were like, all right, we didn't know that still existed. We need to hear more about this. So Tara's like, I'll get Rosa to talk about it. So Rosa is here today. I'm very excited. Tara, before Rosa comes on, do you want to say anything? Do you want to?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Rosa. Rosa is an amazing director here.
All right, she's breaking up. At CARC, I'll finish that sentence. All right, Rosa, whenever you're ready, you can share your screen.
Sure. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here
today. And Rosa's right inside. So go ahead, Rosa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tara. Well, thank you for having me. I will be sharing, it's a short presentation, but I wanted to make sure that you're able to see it. Can you see it?
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Okay. So like many of you are thinking like lead, like wasn't this problem banned in 1978? And the truth is that no. So there's a lot of communities that are facing big issues when it comes to lead poisoning. And many of you may be familiar with the Flint, Newark situations with the water pipes. However, most of the children get lead poisoning from paint. So this is what I will be talking about. Back in the day, lead was seen as something completely safe, and this book, lead paint, delicious but deadly, and it is true because a lot of children tend to like it because it has a sweet taste to it. So, and back in the day when they were advertising lead paint, you would see a lot of children in the ads, or to the point of eating it, playing with it, and this is one of those types of books that was out there. So a little bit of history. During the 20th century, the U.S. emerged as the world's leading producer and consumer of refined lead. According to the National Academy of Science report on lead in the human environment, by 1980, the U.S. was consuming about 1.3 million tons of lead per year. This quantity, which represents about 40% of the world's supply, was nearly 10 times greater than those of ancient Romans. Now, I'm not going to give you a whole history of lead and in different countries, but Italy is said to be full of lead. They use it in pretty much in everything, everyday life. And they knew the health concerns, but they kind of dismissed it. So they would have slaves working with mining lead and all of that. They would use it in clay statues. With their wines, they would use lead to make it a little bit sweet. So it was very popular back then. So it does have a rich history of its uses. And then when it came to the US, it just took off. It was in everything, in shoes, paint, toys, and it still is in some way. And in Australia, after there was a scientist that was doing research because there was a large population of students that got sick, and he found out that it was through lead poisoning. So Australia banned lead a decade before the US decided to ban lead, because they recognized the serious health concerns that were out there. So that's a little bit of history. I call it the forgotten poison because, like many of us, they, before, if you're not working in this type of job, you don't really get to see or know that lead still is very much present in today's world. So the depiction of with this picture, it's very triggering, just because it almost looks like orange juice going into a sippy cup, but it's actually paint. And that is essentially what is happening because of the dust. Once the paint gets broken, peels off, then there's dust, and then that will go into the food or drinks if it's exposed. So lead poisoning affects over 1 million children today. It has learning disabilities, hearing loss, speech delays, violent behavior, and in rare cases, seizures and even death. There is a lot of things happening right now where a lot of lower income children could be potentially misdiagnosed in the schools, and they are put in special needs classes. And a lot of times there's a hidden underlying thing happening, and it could potentially be their home where they are, depending on if it's not well kept, if they're stripping paint. So there's a lot of things that go into play with this as well. So like I said before, who does this affect? Children from low-income households and those living in housing built before 1978, children under 6 years old and pregnant women, immigrants and refugees. Refugee children from less developed countries are at a higher risk of being exposed due to less strict rules protecting children from lead exposure. Like I mentioned previously, lead is not completely banned, and there is still lead paint being sold in other countries. For example, Sherwin-Williams sells lead to other countries. They are still making that paint. They did have a lawsuit in California because of this issue, and they had to pay some money, but they haven't stopped selling lead paint. Currently here in the US, there are products that still contain lead, like faucets, brass, brake pads, you name it, vinyl siding. We actually, my team and I just went to Baltimore for the National Conference of Lead and Poisoning in Healthy Homes. And during that, we learned so much more than what we did before. So everything from vinyl to what, if you have children or you know people that have children and they, after school, they play either soccer or football or other sports, and they need to be in the field. And that field, a lot of times there's a material that is not, it's fake grass, and that black, those black little dots in there, that is full of lead. So plus other materials. So it is not completely banned. We're going to have this problem for a very long time, but our focus here at CARC is really getting into the homes, making them safer and healthier for the families living in there. This is one of the posters back then. Dutch Boy was one of the biggest advertising lead paints out there. And right in your face, high lead content paint, why lead last. The reason why is because they would use lead paint because it would last much longer. It would go on smooth. It was thicker, and it, like I said, it would definitely last. So a lot of people did like to use lead paint because of those reasons. Now that went into, like I said, coloring, pencils, toys. Toys are still being made with lead, especially from other countries. There's a lot from China. There's a lot of clay materials that come from Mexico and other countries as well. So it's all over. So you just have to be very careful when you are consuming something. And this is why I get excited. And when Tara said, why can you talk at the Mammoth Chamber of Commerce? And I was like, oh yes, definitely. And this is why, because you as a group can and we can collaborate and build in equity and healthy neighborhoods. So new investments can help neighborhoods that are being historically excluded. Local leaders can help shape communities' economic development and growth agendas. Social empathy and authentic community engagement should involve all participants from the work's concept stages all the way throughout the execution. So when we go, let's say you know someone that is a landlord, or you yourself have a rental property, or you know anyone in your family that may have a rental property, and you know this house unit was built before 1978. You can call us and say, there might be potentially lead. I'm not sure. Can you come and assess the home? It is based on income, so they would have to meet the qualifications of the income requirements. However, we can still go and assess it. And if they are able to qualify for this program, not only can they get potentially new windows, new doors, if they have crown molding, baseboards, whatever, if it has more of a character with the aprons and the casings and all of that, and it has lead, we can work with that and we can fix that. So you can be the advocate of making sure that your communities can stay healthy and they can, you know, stay updated, because that is very important for everyone, right? I mean, if a neighborhood has, you know, there's nothing breaking down and there's not like abandoned or vacant houses, it's better in the long run for an investment. This is actually one of the things that we give to families with our weatherization program. And that says lead paint comes with a lifetime guarantee. It will do damages for generations. So find a lead safe certified contractor. That is very important, because when it comes to ripping out and replacing or scraping to bare wood and repainting, we have to make sure that we hire someone, that we're dealing with someone that is certified not just by the EPA, but also by the state of New Jersey, that they have their licenses, that they are up to date, and that they are able to do this work. So they have to go through an application, a bidding process, and we have all of that information. So that is something very important. And even if they don't qualify, we'll tell you, make sure that you select someone that has those certifications. And if you need guidance, we'll help you. We have quite a few families, not a lot. Most of our clients qualify, but a few clients that have maxed out the income requirement will go through the process. I will educate them and I will provide them resources, and the contractors are listed under the state of New Jersey to do this type of work. So you're not completely out there on your own, because it's very confusing and it can be challenging. So some of the success stories that we have, as you see here, this is a family of a single mom of 5. One of them is an autistic child. The rental property was assessed and found not just lead, but an unhealthy house environment. They had a whole different things going on. The AC wasn't working. There was some mold in the house. They did had a dog or a cat, and that was causing more dust. So there were other health issues and concerns as well. So we took action, and they were able to get new windows, doors, a wholesome journey of education when it comes to healthy homes, providing them with the right tools and resources, um, as well as the resources that we have in-house, like the farmers market or energy assistance program and more. So they were very happy. This is the after, the door and the windows, and I can't put all of the, all of the before and after pictures, but this one here is another success story. This was actually a little bit sad, and it took a little bit longer to get to the landlord, because whether it's they're skeptical or they don't want to deal with the issue, sometimes it gets to that point where you have to chase them and be kind of an investigator and find them and try to find them to make sure that they understand and how this will help their property, not just the family, but their property have more equity and value by doing this. So this is the front, is a 2-unit. If you see here, the floor, all of that is full of lead. Those 2 doors in the pictures, you can't see it, but as soon as you got there, they were full of lead, and you can see it through the texture. So if someone tells you I can smell lead, no, that is not possible. You can possibly see it depending on how the paint is starting to break down. It doesn't peel, but it cracks. So there is a difference between the lead paint and non-lead paint base. So this is actually inside. These 2 pictures are inside the house. You can see some of here. It is chipping away, but next time, and I have been telling my team, if you get a chance, just take a video. Sometimes the pictures don't do justice, but in these 2 doors, there was the lead paint is just throughout everything, and there is a texture. You can't see it here, but in all of the rooms there was lead. And actually one of the rooms where the mom and the dad and the baby were sleeping, the wall was kind of caving in, so that was a structural problem aside from the lead. And this is the family afterwards. The family of 4, both children were lead poisoned, and the mom is pregnant with a high level of lead poisoning. The rental property was assessed, and it wasn't just full of lead, like I mentioned before. So we took action. We did the assessment. They were able to get new windows, new doors. This is actually the back of the building. All of this was old and it had full of lead, so all of that is new. The faucet was also stabilized because it was full of lead. This is actually the indoor of the inside of the other room of the unit where the mom and the dad, the mom and the baby are staying. And this wall over here was caving, so we were able to fix that and also provide a new baseboards. The door came with the frame and the casing and the door jamb. So all of that is new, and they were really happy. They were, I mean, one of the nicest families that I have met and worked with. They were so grateful, and we were able to really help them. That is my little short spiel, and I will leave some of the time for comments, but you can find us, that is our website, corknj.org, our social media, we're on LinkedIn. Please, if you're on LinkedIn, I will find you, or you can find me. We can add each other if there's anything happening. I think that is the best way that we can reach other professionals as well. We are on Facebook and Instagram. And that is my email address and my cell phone. If you have any questions, anything at any point, you can call me, text me. I'm here to help. And then I will stop sharing my. Uh, and hold on. I can't stop sharing.
You should be able to, let's see, I'll see if I can do it for you.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
That was very educational. I will tell you, I did not know they were still using and it wasn't completely eradicated at this point in time. What does it take to make that happen? How can they still use it when they know how deadly it is? I don't understand that.
So it has to do a lot with political power, right? I mean, you can't go against too many giants. And depending on, I mean, we were able to do the lead paint, but it took years. It wasn't until 2010 when there was some heavy money put into making sure that we took this out of families and properties. And we're getting more funding as of this year and going into next year. So it's definitely something, and because lead paint does last longer, you won't see the effects right away. And because sometimes children don't necessarily see you can't see the effects right away. It can take years, and then by then it might be too late. And then lead doesn't go away, it gets stored in your bones. A lot of times, if you're familiar with or you've been around pregnant women and they say, like the dirt smells really good, or like they want to eat chalk or something like that, and it's because there might be something, it's like pica. So if you're familiar with that, we had actually, it wasn't our case, but we were familiar with a case where a family, the child had like such a high level of lead poisoning that he was chewing on everything he was able to get, the railing of the staircase, the casings, the doors. I mean, you would see bite marks, and we saw the pictures of it. And it's so sad because the family didn't completely understand, but at the same time, there wasn't anyone telling them there is something else, there's something wrong if your child is doing. And even if you see someone like, because little kids are curious, right? They start chipping. If they taste it and it tastes sweet, then they think it's candy, and then they will start chipping and eating. So as long as you know someone who has kids or has this problem or is living in an older home, just educate them, or tell them about us, and that they have to make sure that they are not eating it. They can maintain the property. Lead is not, doesn't get into your system unless it's breaking down, and that dust is the thing that is really bad for us. So if you're familiar with the sugar packets, the Splenda, if you cut that even just in half, that will be enough damage of lead dust.
Wow.
And then it's so tiny, so you can see how much of a danger it can be. So it's definitely, and there's so many products out there. I mean, we all have vinyl or maybe wood siding, but I have vinyl in my house, right? Vinyl siding, and that has lead. So to me, it would be curious to know, like, 50 years from now, how would that impact the environment too? Because as it starts to break down, then if you can cover it beforehand, then you can conceal the problem. But that too will have some effect on if you don't keep up with the house. And that is why I'm saying, like, this group is so beneficial, because you're able to get into businesses and get into your neighborhoods, and really, as long as you keep up with it, there's really no danger. So you have a healthy neighborhood, you have the housing is good, then there's nothing really to worry too much about.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to open it up for questions, but my last question is, if someone tests positive for lead, what can be done to get the lead out of their system? What do you do?
You can ask Tara. Do you want to answer that? There's not much, I
Yeah.
think.
Sometimes it's just a trace, but once it gets to, I think, about 5 micrograms, I believe, right, Rosa? We alert the parents after our testing. Takes a couple weeks to get back in, and depending on how high that lead level is, sometimes children end up in the hospital because they're suffering and we don't know why. The parent doesn't know why, but they might have, as Rosa said in the beginning, hearing loss. Behavioral issues are huge. And once they get to the hospital and identify that it is lead, they give them a treatment. I believe it's IV, and forgive me, but I know it's an IV treatment, and they probably wind up in the hospital for several days until they test free or lower enough in that lead system that they can send them home and keep an eyeball on them. So then their primary doctors, the pediatricians, will treat them from there. But when it's an emergency situation, they have to go in for IV therapy that helps release the lead from the body, and it takes some time. But those are the lucky ones, because once they're treated, they won't have the issues to where the lead goes into the bone, the brain. It's very dangerous when it's undetected.
And the other thing too is that, like Tara said, it's in very few cases we're able to prevent that to go higher, but it's really hard to get to that, to prevent those. So there is a movement, and I know Terry, who is one of the nurses too, like, way back when she was one of the nurses that with her were fighting to get lead screening in the schools, which makes sense because the population is right there. You can get them right there early, see if there is some indication, and by all means, 5.0, it's still a high level. I mean, that is just what the state of New Jersey goes by. CDC has recommended to lower it to 3.5, and there are a few states that have lowered that level. However, will New Jersey follow? It depends. Just because the labs can't keep up with the demand. I mean, they have been so backed up now. We're hit with the pandemic. They had to put that aside. Now we're going back. So there's a lot to see, and there's no lead safe levels. I mean, there's always like, well, what is the safe level? And there's none. It should be 0, right? There's no children should have lead poisoning. Always a healthy diet. I know this is what doctors tell you all the time. If you eat properly and if you exercise, but with lead, that is true. High protein, high iron vegetables definitely will help keep that lower, or at least maintain it where you don't have to, your levels can possibly potentially go up.
Does anybody else have any questions? Go ahead, Danielle.
I heard you say something about the fields.
Yes.
The turf fields that have
Yes.
those black things.
Yep.
Lead.
Yep. So that is something that
I mean, I've heard other bad things about them, but I didn't know
Yes.
that it was
so
lead.
that has lead and probably a full on of other things in there. And if you see, especially when you're dealing with little kids, and you know how they like to get their hands on that because it's like almost like sand, right?
Yeah.
And then they hold it, and the problem is that if they don't wash that, and then they go and they go to their face, or they go eat chips and they eat, and I mean, that is really bad. And where I learned that is from the conference, and they were saying of all of these things that sometimes they're because in California they're dealing now with schools. So they are now doing abatements, or they are doing remediations when it comes to schools. And I thought that was amazing because, you know, that makes so much sense. I mean, schools, when have they, you know, depending on where you're living, how often are they updated? Aside from the classroom, maybe the desks and computers, but the actual infrastructure of the school, you know, who knows how late or how long have they been, you know, updated for.
Well, just one more. So if they're not little kids and they're just playing on it,
Right.
how toxic is it? I mean, I
So-
know my son comes in and I mean, I have 11 and 13-year-olds. So like it comes in attached to their cleats or whatever. We usually leave it in the garage. Like,
Good.
would it be toxic if like the animals ate it or like?
So, yes,
Or-
and actually that is another thing that is coming, and that was some of the talks, like how are animals like cats and dogs, how are they putting into this? Because cats can scratch and they can bring the dust, because it's all about the dust, right? So
Right.
if they are just playing and you're leaving, if you have a specific designated area where they are leaving their cleats, that is fine. The thing that I would recommend to you is that as soon as they take off those clothes and then you wash them. Don't go like this and try to you know,
What even gets in their clothes just from playing on it?
so
Just
if it
the
gets in
hair?
yeah, well, if it gets in your clothes, you know, just wash them and like try not to make too much dust, as long as they are not eating it or putting their hands in, you know, in their mouth,
Right.
they should be fine.
Okay.
Well, you keep talking about dust. What about inhaling it?
Yeah, well, that I mean, unless if you're by paint, right? Because even the dust you can inhale dust, or the dust can get in your food or your drinks.
Mhm.
Definitely in your clothes. I mean, but inhaling it, I don't think so. I mean, in what sense? Like if you're inhaling paint or?
The dust, when
Yeah,
you're
well,
breathing.
yeah, if you, I mean, whether you eat it or you inhale dust, it's still bad
Yeah,
because
right.
you're taking it in.
Yeah, right. I just, because we
Yeah.
talk about eating it and it getting on clothes and stuff, but you're also breathing it. That's, I
Yeah,
guess,
if you're
the most.
breathing, yeah, definitely. I mean, that is the biggest, going straight into your system.
Yeah. So Tara, with all the testing that you do, are like what percentages are we seeing the lead? Like, do you
Yeah,
have data?
I would say now I just have to comment that I've been with the lead team maybe 4 or 5 months so far. So within that amount of time, we've probably seen 1.5 microgram, and that gets reported. And those children, we recommend that they follow their physician. But I will tell you, there are plenty, maybe 30% with a 1. And like, as Rosa said, we should be seeing 0. You know, they'll say less than 1 microgram, which is great. I've never seen a 0, but less than 1, I guess because of the lab testing, is very acceptable. But we've seen a 3, a 2, and we test the entire family, and every single one of those children will almost always have the same level. So they really have to be careful, and that's where Rosa will step in and the team and just teach them to dust with a wet cloth is really great, because as Rosa said, it's the dust that these people are inhaling. And the big thing, the big takeaway here, as Rosa was saying, is to spread the word for us, because as long as they're income eligible, we have grants. We've got big grant money to spend, and we can help the community. And what happens on the other end of the grant money is, if you do not spend it, we're not getting it next year to help more families. So it's a great thing. And as Rosa said, for even the landlords that are afraid, some of them, when the child tests positive, they want to kick the family out because they don't want to have to deal with this issue.
Doesn't
Yeah,
make it go away.
crazy.
The next family. Yep.
Right. So it's educating. And
Yeah.
that's Rosa's big thing, is to get the education out there for these landlords, to show them that there is help, because a lot of them aren't making great money right now. People are behind on their rent because of
Yeah.
COVID. It's tough out there.
Yeah. Is there any kind of help that the landlords can get to help get rid of the lead, or is it on their own dime?
No,
No.
so we will, most of the time qualify the tenants because the landlord has a higher income. So it does benefit the tenant because at the end of the day, they are the ones who own the property. So
Right.
they are getting new windows, new doors,
Oh, I see. Okay.
window sills, casings, whether it's door jams, thresholds, whatever it might be, they are getting that, right? But we
Right.
are making whoever's living there a healthier home.
Yes.
And now there is, when it comes to an abatement, so if a child tests 5 or more, it goes straight to the county's health department, unless a town has its own, like Freehold has its own health department. But let's say Monmouth County Health Department, it goes straight to them. Now we have to deal with them. Aside from dealing with them, we have to deal with the requirements from the state, the requirements from the health department, landlord, and contractor. So there's a lot of moving pieces. And that is called an abatement because there is a child that has lead poisoning. We have a bit of a higher budget with doing those types of jobs. Now it can get a little tricky in some of the cases. A few months, 2 months ago, we just finished an abatement in Asbury Park, and that case had been sitting on court for almost 2 years. Another case came to us, and that case also was sitting almost like a year or more on court because the landlord either refused to do it, they didn't want to pay out of their own money, or they just didn't have the the income that they needed to fix this problem. So this is where we can help, right? We can say, listen, like, aside, it's good for everyone. It's good for our program. It's good for the families. It's good for your community, and we're just creating more equity. And you're keeping up with your property now that if we are able to do the work. So there's a lot of things that benefit. I do have to say that Clark and maybe Isles it's another organization, they just covered Trenton. We cover Middlesex, Monmouth, and Atlantic counties. And we're one of the best performers in the state.
Nice.
And that reason is because we take step by step with the client. We're very case management style. So from the first time you call, we'll go to the house, educate, take the application, especially if there's kids involved. And then we'll move on to the next steps and what is happening and what's, dealing with contractors and all of that. The landlord doesn't have to do much unless they really want to know everything, what's happening. But after we have the application from the tenants and we have a walkthrough and we have everything, they don't really have to do. The only thing they have to do for us is sign a landlord tenant agreement, saying that they are aware that we're going to be performing the job at whatever property. And they have to give us a proof of ownership as well as their social. So if there is a family that it's undocumented, we won't require the social, we'll require the social of the landlord.
Okay.
And like I said, at the end of the day, this is their property and it's in their best interest of, doing this.
Yeah.
I have a landlord with 6 properties right now that we were able to approve, and he has more, but those others we can't touch. And the 6 properties that we're able to do with him, and he's more than happy because he's getting all of this, right? All of this for free, which is great because it's for the communities and everything. But at the same time, it's good for the families, and we can educate the families and get into why this is bad, and it's it's good.
Good. Well, thank you so much. Does anybody have any other questions? I found this actually fascinating, and realizing that there's this still this health problem in our community. If we, like you said, if we can just talk about it with people we know, and you could save a life. That's an awesome, incredible thing that we could do. So thank you, Rosa and Tara, for sharing this important information, and we'll just keep the conversation going. I love when Tara says, her 30-second commercial and talks about it, so she'll keep it going. That's how we got here. So talking about it works.
And I'm gonna put my my email and my phone number just in case anyone wants to reach out or just have a question or something. You're more than welcome.
Thank you so much, Rosa.
Oh,
All
wait.
right, with that, we'll go around the room and everyone will do their, so that you'll know who your audience is, everyone will do their 30-second commercial. And we'll do Chris Carroll, we'll do Ed Thomas and Danielle.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. Chris Carroll from Brookdale. I work with companies and provide training, a lot of grant-funded training. I spoke to Rosa a few weeks ago, and there's many companies that can take advantage of some free training. So if there's anything I can do for you, please reach out to me. And I do have another call at 9, so we'll be dropping off. But thank you very much, Rosa. This was great.
Thank you, Chris.
Good morning, everybody. I know you can't see me, but this is Ed Thomas, president of the Monmouth chapter of the Association of the U.S. Army, AUSA. And our reason for being is to support soldiers, veterans of all services, and family members in the local Monmouth County area. Our next initiative or event is coming up on the well, we have several coming up, but I wanted to talk about the 10th of November, our annual Veterans Day luncheon at the Sheraton Hotel in Eatontown, 11:30, November 10th. And we are especially recognizing World War II veterans this year. And we have so far 6 World War II veterans who have committed to attend the luncheon, and we will honor them with a couple of proclamations from the state of New Jersey and from our local state senator. So we're looking forward to that. Hope you can join us.
Excellent. Thank you, Ed. Danielle?
My turn? Okay, I wasn't sure. I thought I was the third. Good morning, everybody. Danielle Arno. I host on-site and virtual paint parties for any and all occasions. Perfect for corporate events, team building, or just any type of private event you might like to host. They're all fully customizable and taught step by step, primarily by me. If anybody happens to know of somebody that would be compatible to work for me, I've been meaning to start asking around. I'm looking for somebody who has experience in teaching, doesn't have to be art, but teaching, who has experience in art and who has an outgoing personality. So please, if any of you know somebody that fits those things, and it's a completely part-time job, like no guarantees. It's like for somebody who has a full-time job and just wants to do something fun and creative on the side. So if you guys could let me know if you hear of anybody, please pass my information along. Danielle Arno, Artworks Events. Thank you for your presentation, Rosa.
Danielle, also go to the Facebook member network page and
Okay.
put a post in there about you looking for a part-time help.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Excellent. You're welcome. Next, we'll go to Carrie, Steve, and Gerald.
Great. Good morning, everyone. My name is Carrie Gazowitz. I work at Berniker, Iger & Lang CPAs over in Eatontown. So we are a tax and accounting firm. We help our business and individual clients with their tax needs, their bookkeeping needs, and everything throughout the rest of the year that you may need help with. So at Berniker, Iger & Lang, we'll help make your life less taxing.
I love that. Thanks, Carrie.
Morning, Steve Rosen, Jobs Done Right. Your local handyman. Anything you need done inside or out, I can help you out. Right now, I'm finishing up my class on a home inspection. So hopefully soon I'll be able, probably March, I'll be able to do home inspections for people. There is an ethics rule. I can't do anything with someone who's I've already worked on their house. And I do a home inspection, I can't do any work on their house. So there is that. But part of the home inspection, at some point, I'll get the certification for the lead.
Nice.
I'll end up getting that. That'll be part of it. It's
Oh,
like a tag on. So
definitely.
Steve Rosen, Jobs Done Right.
Stay connected to Clark. Gerald.
Good morning, everyone. Gerald Ciosi. I'm a real estate and bankruptcy attorney. If you know somebody buying a home, a commercial business, needs a lease reviewed, I'm someone that can help them. Also, people who are struggling financially right now, whether they're struggling to stay in their house due to issues with their mortgage, or they're facing difficulty due to credit card bills and hospital bills, I can assist them as well. All consultations are free and they're confidential. Gerald Ciosi, real estate and bankruptcy attorney.
All right, thank you, Gerald. Next, we'll go to Al and then our Vice President, Tara.
Right. Rosa, that was excellent presentation. That was incredible. Very, very informative. Very, very informative. Okay, it was really good. Okay, Al Aloisi, I'm your independent insurance broker. I take care of health insurance, life insurance, annuities, and just certified for Medicare supplements and Medicare specialists. You know, people that are older. This is open enrollment period now from October 15th to December 7th. So I can help supplements and Medicare Advantage plans, some with zero premium, etc. And you have to be informed. You can't just be an agent. You have to be certified to do this. And they need someone like me to do that. Okay. Thank you very much. Everybody have a good week and stay safe.
Thank you, Al. Vice President, Tara.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't sure if I was next. Hi, Tara Demyanovich. I am owner of Outside the Box Gifts for any kind of gifts you need. And most importantly, I am the Community Relations Director for Community Affairs and Resource Center. Our main location is in Asbury Park. We have a location in Keyport, Freehold, and Lakewood. And Rosa, you did an amazing job. I knew you would rock this. You're so good at what you do. We're so lucky to have you. I just wanted to also mention that we are in the middle of a coat and toy drive. So if you have gently used coats in your closet that you want to purge and you can afford to buy us a toy, $10 and up unwrapped, please reach out to me. I will get that collected for you. Thanks again, Tara Demyanovich, Community Affairs and Resource Center. And a big shout out to Gerald. Gerald Ciosi happens to be our board president for Community Affairs and Resource Center. And I'm so glad you got to jump on for us.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you so much, Tara. All right, so just quickly, we actually still have a little time left. I'm just going to talk about upcoming events that we have. So Tara, actually, why don't you talk? We have our next Women in Business on Tuesday online on Zoom, if you want to talk about that, and then our luncheon coming up in December.
Right, so our Tuesday Zoom, it's free to members. What is it, like $5 or $10 for non-members?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And our speaker is amazing, Sylvia. She's got some great insight. And I think she's going to be talking about nonprofits on this particular one. Was that correct, Therese?
Yeah.
Which is so plug into that if you can. I know I'm going to make sure that I am able to get onto that. And then our Women in Business Luncheon is at yesterday's December, me again.
First.
December 1st. I'm sorry, I don't have my calendar in front of me.
Okay.
It is always an amazing luncheon with a lot of warm and friendly business leader ladies and gentlemen. Al usually wins the gift, so.
No, I haven't been ready.
So please come on out to that. We have vendor booths. It'll be a shopping event. Normally we have a speaker at these luncheons, but this time in December every year, we have we donate to an organization, a nonprofit. This year it is CARC, Community Affairs and Resource Center. We'll be collecting toys and gently used coats at that luncheon, and we also are looking for one more profit. I believe we have
I have to secure it. Yeah, I have to. Once I secure it, then we'll make the announcement.
Okay, wonderful. And so come on out, learn, network with each other, spread the word about your organization. We have a lot of fun.
Yes. And so on Tuesday, Sylvia Allen, she is a marketing guru all her life. She's knows how to market. She knows how to help businesses market. She also runs a nonprofit called Sylvia's Children. She supports children in Uganda, getting them educated and getting them through school and starting their careers. And she has single-handedly raised $2 million in 20 years for them. So she's going to actually talk about becoming a great nonprofit. And I know she knows what she's talking about, so you don't want to miss it. If you know any nonprofits, tell them to join us Tuesday morning, 8:30. It's on our calendar. And then, yeah, so we have the holiday shop. We started this last year. It was a huge success. So holiday shop in December, on December 1st. Other things coming up, we have our Athena Leadership Awards Luncheon. There are over 180 people registered right now. We're looking to push it over 200 by Monday. Monday is the last day for registration. And so come and join us. We're honoring 9 amazing finalists. We'll be giving away two of the awards, the Young Professional Award and the Leadership Award. And nobody knows who the recipients are until we make the announcement. So it's always a surprise, but we're honoring all 9 women for the work that they do in the community on their job. And they have to be lifting other women and helping them to rise. And so that's the criteria. We do this every year on the first Friday in November. Other things going on. We're doing a joint event with MODC and SCAN, the Senior Citizens Activities Network, at their location at Monmouth Mall. They just redid their facility and they want to show it off. And that's an after hours from 5:30 to 7:30. And they have a line dancing class that's going to be going on during our meeting. And we're welcome to join the line dancing class if we choose. So that's going to be a fun event. And then we have young professionals. Carrie, do you I don't know if there's a speaker, but I can't believe we're in November. It's November's coming up. But talk about young professionals, please.
Yeah, so the Young Professionals group is geared towards, people just starting out in their career, 40 and under, but anyone is younger than 40 at heart is also welcome. If you work with any young professionals, please feel free to send them to our meeting. They're free for members. They're on Zoom. And they're at 8:30 the third Tuesday of every month. I'm quite not sure what's lined up for this month just yet, but it is bound to be very exciting.
Thank you, Carrie. All right, so that's it for now. Does anybody have any questions or testimonials or anything they'd like to share before we go? No? All right. All right, well, thank you again, Rosa, so much for your sharing your information and your news. And I got a kick out of a lot of what you showed us was the old-fashioned book and the old-fashioned images to show you how old this lead problem has been going on for, how long it's been going on for. So,
Great job, Rosa.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yay. So everybody enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much for being here.
Bye, guys.
Hi, thank you.
Bye, everyone.
All right, everybody, stay safe.